fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
Ugh, you said you were over him, but his hoodie is still in your rotation. It's time. Grab your phone, snap a few pics, and sell it on Depop. Listed in minutes with no selling fees. And just like that, a guy 500 miles away just paid full price for your closure. And right on cue.
Hey, still got my hoodie?
Nope. But I've got tonight's dinner paid for. Start selling on Depop, where taste recognizes taste. List now with no selling fees. Payment processing fees and boosting fees still apply. See website for details.
River Butcher is a comedian, a writer, and, like a lot of us, someone trying to figure out how to keep going when the old ways stop working.
With the wealth that we have in this country, compared to smaller countries who take care of the people, we have so much like BS luxury, and art has become a luxury. It's become commodified.
We talked about what happens when gratitude starts to replace fear and why comedy still matters, even if you're not making a special every year.
I told myself for years, like, once you don't have dates, it's over. I don't have road dates, and it's not looking like I will anytime soon.
There's something powerful in realizing your life is already okay, even if it's not the version you used to chase.
I mean, I've chased stand-up for all this time trying to find the one thing I can say that's going to unlock everything. And the thing that unlocks everything is being honest and just being me.
The creative economy is broken, but some people are still making it work. We're here to find out how. I'm Anna Marie Cox.
I'm Open Mike Eagle, and this is Past Due. River, how are you?
Yo, today I'm great.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it is
That's
good to hear.
I hope it stays that way.
I love a line in Sinners, no misery is worth complaining about.
Oh, interesting.
That's one that I like to use.
It definitely is worth talking about. I'll say that. You know what I mean? It's like, I will say in the past, I don't know. I don't need to put a timestamp on it. But I've learned the difference. I've begun to unlearn complaining and learn sharing. Like I'm learning slowly appropriate places to take things. And like, that's been yikes. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, okay. Oh, cool.
You're talking about this podcast, my friend.
Right.
You are speaking to not just the choir, but your fellow preachers.
Yeah. Oh,
really?
Yeah. I mean, everybody in the choir thinks they're the preacher,
Speaking of misery and timestamps, we're going to ask you the question that we ask all of our guests, is how we start every conversation we have here on this podcast, which is, when is the last time that you felt worried about covering your monthly expenses?
The last time that I felt worried about covering my monthly expenses was about like 5 days ago, a week ago.
Okay. That's a close one.
So I have had, I've struggled with my fears of financial insecurity my whole life. And recently I've had like just a new expansion around like, oh, I think it's going to be okay.
I'm familiar with that phrase. And for me, what that means is not that I'm financially secure, right? It's that I don't have the fear of it. That I can trust that it's not even trusting that something will come along, because that's kind of crazy. Because something may not come along immediately, but that I can figure out how to get through it.
Mhm.
For you, is that something that you can address separately? Is there like financial insecurity is one thing, and then there's the fear of it that's separate?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yep. That's that's why I said it that way because it
Yeah.
even just knowing that it's separate things is like has been a huge change in my life. I grew up with people who were just in fear of financial insecurity. So I learned it. I was like raised in it, like so it makes sense. And then I also have a brain that tends towards that. So it's like, and so do they. It didn't come from nowhere. It didn't come from them. So for me, it's just the beginning of the space between that understanding and that like it was my way
Mhm.
of life before that I was constantly in fear of financial insecurity. And the difference is that I'm beginning to the feelings are unwinding around it. And I admitted like, "Oh, I'm I'm financially insecure." Very recently I was like, "Oh, that's actually what it is that I am." Okay. And that's kind of when the fear began to unhook in a new way because at first I needed to be like, not afraid of financial insecurity where I was like, everything's great. Look at this. And that's what, and it was because that was the objective truth. And then when everything wasn't great, I was like, no, 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 no. That's not what I signed up for. I'm down to get
Mhm.
away from fear of financial insecurity because things are good. Because I'm doing what I want to be doing. I'm getting paid the amount I want to be paid, all that stuff. And going, whoa, this is not a river problem. It's not because I suck. And it's not because I'm
Mhm.
not doing enough. And it's just generally, I had to get really honest with myself and go, where am I not doing enough? And sometimes the answer was like, you're doing all right, man. You're doing the best you can. And it's like, I don't want that as an answer. I want to be I want to be the problem because then
Mm.
I can complain about it. And it's really human. You know what I mean? Like it's what we do as people. And sometimes you got to complain. But complaining was the only mode, venting and complaining was, and it's like it magnetizes, like produces like. So the more I do that, the more I do that. But I needed a lot of help and support and really loving people who have tolerated it and haven't been like, you got to knock this off. And some people who are like, I can't hear about that anymore. And then I go like, damn, am I talking about that much that this person is like, stop.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then noticing when other people are complaining and being like, wow, there I am. Another thing that's really profoundly helped me is to not as a weapon, but like really, and I did it very begrudgingly, and all kinds of different experiences of it. But I was like, oh damn, my basic needs are met today, despite the way that I feel and the way it looks. Not great. It's not great out here in Hollywood. It's not great out here in a lot of places. People are struggling. So I found like solidarity in that instead of like, woe is me. And I went, whoa, yeah, holy crap. I slept inside last night. I have a bed. I have food in my fridge. I have working clean water. I have I said food. I have clothing to wear. It's like I had to get really and go like, ooh, and not go, well, you better feel better because of that. I actually was like building like, whoa, yo, got it. Oh, shit. So that's what's allowed me today to be like, I don't know what's gonna happen. And what's incredible, and I'll stop talking, is that I feel more like prepared and grateful and like standing in myself and open to new creativity and new ways of doing stand up and like writing new jokes and getting out there, and it is not to be had, and it's incredible. And the fact that I'm not upset about that, I'm like, exactly. Exactly. Of course that's what it is. Cuz I something else, there's going to be something else, and I don't have to give it up just because I can't do it the way I've been doing it, on the road. Cuz I told myself for years like once you don't have dates, it's over. And I have a date in October. I don't have any dates. Well, I have one which I'm super grateful for.
Oh, That's great.
you know, but I don't have stand-up dates. I don't have road dates, and it's not looking like I will anytime soon. And like, yo, that would have killed me. That would have took me out anytime before now. But that basic needs thing and a million other things, but that basic needs thing was like, right. I trust that it's because this is what I believe I'm here to do. And so I'm willing to do it however something sees fit for me to do it. And I'm open to what that might be, which I think is a great segue into one of the things we were going to talk about.
I want to jump in really quick on that specifically, though, because
Mhm.
I feel like a gratitude practice is really important to being functioning. Actually, like I have to have a
Mhm.
gratitude practice to even like get through the fucking day. And to me, it's always been kind of a tricky thing, though, because sometimes I can get into a little bit of fear just listing the things I'm grateful for if I do the basics, right?
Mhm.
Because I'm worried I might lose those things. Like if I say I'm
Mhm.
grateful to have a roof over my head, I'm like, oh shit, but what if I didn't? And all those people don't. And how am I like, who am I to say that I deserve to have a roof over my head? Like I can get into this place where I start just worrying that I'm going to be where I think of it in terms of, well, I'm better off than someone else, right? Like, well,
Mhm.
at least I have a roof over my head. And
Mhm.
it's almost as though there has to be some space there too. Like you're talking about space between financial insecurity and fear of it. Like for me, the trick is sometimes to be grateful without comparison, right? To just keep it in like, I'm glad, I am grateful I have this. And it doesn't have
Mhm.
to be more than what someone else has for me to be grateful for it. I don't need to
Mhm.
do the thing where I hear horror stories, right?
Mhm.
And that's just tricky for me. I thought it just
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
No,
know about
totally. I
you.
mean,
Is that where you can
oh yeah.
go? And do you
Oh yeah.
have to
Well,
figure
and I
out
better
like
be
how not
grateful.
to make it a catastrophe?
Yeah, yeah, of course. But I've also something has shifted in my perspective where I can actually it's an objective truth that I am better off than other people. That's an objective truth and I get to go, what am I going to do with that?
Yeah.
Because for me to sit here and stay scared and to sit here and think about all these rightful things that need to change right now is wasting the privileges that I do have. It's absolutely wasting them to sit here and think about how everybody's wrong and everything's wrong. And if they just, and because that's what it brings up for me when I go like, oh, I have it better, so I better. And then that anger just has to find another place. So I start looking at all the things in the world, and there's a lot to find that I think a lot of things we agree on. I want it to change, but I'm not powerful enough to do that. And it's wasting the privilege. Like every human being on this planet has some privilege somewhere. Like I am a white person who is now a white man in the world. I'm also trans, so I have a lived experience that is different than most cisgender men. But for all intents and purposes in the world, when I walk out of my house, I am a white cisgender straight man to most people. And I don't take that lightly. I like it's taken time and I have to continuously go, whoa, okay. And I've seen now on the other side what it does to other people. How people feel when they interact with a straight white cisgender man. It's very wild. And so like it's humbled me quite a bit. And I'm grateful for like I mean, I don't know. I was just thinking about this the other day like I don't know how I got so lucky to have a mom that was like anti-racist as best as she could in the early 80s
Mhm.
in Akron, Ohio, in a white neighborhood, like straight up white neighborhood, like we were in the poor neighborhoods, but they're like redlined in my neighbor, there was no interaction. And like she showed me that. And so I'm super grateful to my mom for putting that in there because now I don't have a lived experience of a straight white man. I have a very different lived experience that gets to be embodied in this and be different. And I guess what I'm trying to say is like, when I'm in that fear that you're talking about, that I also do, it's all about me. It's only about me. And I have to really go like, yo, I do have it better than other people. And there are people who have it better than me. It and there are people who are on a similar path. And we're all on the same planet together. We all breathe the same air. So what am I going to do with that? And on a daily basis, I get to find out.
This episode is brought to you by Factor.
Cold days, big goals, absolutely zero interest in cooking? Factor makes healthy eating easy with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs.
No planning, no grocery math, no what did I buy this ingredient for?
I love that Factor has quality, functional ingredients, including lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole food ingredients, and healthy fats.
And there's so much variety. Over 100 rotating meals every week, including the new Muscle Pro meals, if you're doing strength stuff.
And they support your diet, whether it's high protein meals, Mediterranean, whole ingredients, healthy fats, or more. Plus, there are no refined sugars or artificial sweeteners.
I've looked for something like this for a long time, and Factor really is the best.
It's good food that tastes great and is ready in about 2 minutes, always fresh, never frozen, no prep, and no stress. Head to factormeals.com/pastdue50off. That's 50 off. And use code PASSDUE50OFF to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year.
Eat like a pro this month with Factor. New subscribers only, varies by plan. One free breakfast item per box for 1 year while subscription is active.
This episode is brought to you by White Claw Surge. Nice choice hitting up this podcast. No surprises. You're all about diving into tastes everyone in the room can enjoy. Just like White Claw Surge. It's for celebrating those moments when connections have been made and the night's just begun. With bold flavors and 8% alcohol by volume, unleash the night. Unleash White Claw Surge. Please drink responsibly. Hard seltzer with flavors. 8% alcohol by volume. White Claw Seltzer Works. Chicago, Illinois.
You're in stand-up comedy, which is in itself, I mean, there's a stand-up community, but it's fractured like most things are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with where, like, I think about the LA scene and how some of the people who you probably came up with are like instrumental in making this thing like this new weird anti-woke boys club thing
Yeah.
right now.
hmm
And I'm curious what your connection to like that side of the industry is and whether or not that has like any effect on your finances.
That's a great question, Mike. That's a great question. Absolutely. I'm like, absolutely, dude. Like, I mean, this isn't comedy, but I think it translates, and it's just like a tangible thing I can say, which is that there are 0 transgender characters on television now. So that, we live in this trickle down society, right? That does trickle down. In fact, it waterfalls down. It's like, okay, so we're not the thing anymore. I was really lucky. I was really lucky to start doing stand up when I did in Chicago when Obama was president, and people were stoked, and alternative comedy was cresting its wave, and queer people and people of color and like just specifically queer people were like, we're gonna come in here too, in a different way, because we've always been there, but it's absolutely had an effect on my finances because there's no work, and I'm not willing to trade my values for like $1. You know what I mean? Because what's wild is like I don't know a lot of those guys, and I've kind of taken my space from it because if I get to, I mean, I stopped going to certain clubs because of it, because I'm just like, this is not it. You know what I mean? This is not it. Like I don't have to gut it out in this situation anymore. And when I'm ready to go back, I can go back. But they are willing to trade their values, which is not to say that like, oh, they're good guys at heart. I mean, they're human beings at heart. They are just like me. And I think often this is the value, right? Of like, this is fun. It's easy. It's easy to be shitty. It's so easy to be shitty. And then you get paid a lot of money. Even easier. Then you go, this is the right thing to do. So anyway, the last thing I was going to say is like, I just because I'm not working right now, I'm like, awesome. I'm reconnecting to my values. My value is not making the most money doing the thing that I love to do. It's changing from that.
I think you touched on something I feel is pretty important in this moment. I used to be friends with a lot of really prominent conservative folks, mostly men, to be honest. Like, I was actually pretty good friends with Tucker Carlson, believe it or not. And my story about him is that when I got divorced from my first husband, he was the literally only person that took me out to lunch and was like, "Congratulations." You know, like way to go. I never liked that guy. With who knows if that's true, by the way. But what a wonderful thing to say to someone, right? And I used to do those, like, he was the conservative and I was the liberal, but we found some things like online debates and stuff. And people sometimes ask me today, like, about this is a show, right? Because he used to be quote unquote reasonable, and today he's so obnoxious and nuts. And I this is a belief that I have, and it goes to what you were saying about some of these comics, which is that I don't think it's possible to completely do an act for a long time. Like, to completely be not have your public values and your private values align. Just to I think it's possible sometimes. Actually, secretly, my bet is that Rush Limbaugh was that way, because I think he was probably a sociopath. But you have to be a sociopath, right?
Sure.
And I don't think very many people are. And I think it's more like what you talked about, which is you maybe shift a little bit and then you profit from it. And then you're like, you know what? Like, maybe this is what I really believed the whole time. Maybe, or you convince yourself, it's one step at a time, and you convince yourself that maybe, talk about comparison again, like, well, at least I'm not as bad as that person.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that would be the real line that I don't want to cross. And then you just get closer and closer and closer. And then the last thing I thought about when you were talking is that the disappearance of, and I'll go ahead and use the word allyship, right? Like, the disappearance of the knowledge on the part of people with privilege that maybe I should do something with it. Like, that maybe I can take a stand not even take a stand. Free from stands. Just a knowingness that you have something that you might be able to reach out a hand to somebody. Like, that's what I see in journalism industry, is just, it's not that everyone's become more racist in journalism and they're no longer like explicitly like, we're not going to try and find a person of color or a woman or a queer person for this job. It's just they just don't think about it. I'm actually curious, Mike, if you've seen if this is like similar to what you've seen in your like experience with the entertainment industry.
I mean, I'm in indie spaces a lot, so it's a lot easier for people to, represent their values. And more, honestly, in audiences I'm around, I'm seeing more of an expectation for people to stand up on shit. Like, I'm seeing more questioning when people are not taking a stand. But again, like these are spaces that I think cater more towards leftist activist sort of leaning. So it's a little different.
And I'm in just good liberal spaces, which is a definite different thing, Like, people are back to being good liberals, which means they're not. No,
Can you say more about that?
No, not so good. I mean like mostly straight, cis, white people who think of themselves as it's the distinction between not racist and anti-racist, right? And who have a kind of fuzzy belief that people should be equal and that racism is bad, but that is something that takes place in kind of a sphere of policy and not lived experience. And also that policies, I mean, you can't make them, like too radical, because then you'll alienate others, And the events of the past week, which I guess we don't know when this is going to air, but I'll just say, like, the murder of Charlie Kirk has shown to me a lot of people who are coming out as good liberals rather than leftists.
Mm-hmm. For me, I cannot go too far down the path with the specifics of what we're talking about. But what I will say is that something that's been revealed to me, because I believe I was like, I want to, I mean, it's a long story, but I went off. I'll say this. I went off in a liberal space. And then I went off again because my going off was removed from the going off. And so it revealed a lot to me. And so I understand what you're saying. It's about policy. It's about doing the right thing based on what I think that is. It's like, it's just a very, to me, like, white fairy tale. Like, well, we can do it. And it's like, you actually need to listen to other people. And you cannot see, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, we can do it. And a big part of that is going like, oh, I don't know how to do that. And seeing my own, how I have been colonized as well. I am the colonizer and I am colonized. And there's the only way that I can begin to pause my colonization of others is seeing that I have also been colonized by an idea, because I personally am like, I'm Caucasian. Like, I don't want the mantle of whiteness. And it's not because I want you guys to think I'm great. It's because I want the space from it. I want the space from it. I want the space because I am to others and I fully accept that privilege. But in my own work, I want to see my ancestors as who they actually were, good and bad. That's the thing. Like trying to be a good leftist even has gotten me into so much trouble. And I guess the thing I wanted to share is that and it got me into financial trouble. It's like, I'm not going to work there anymore. But then on the other side of that, after the roller coaster with support and love and my practice that I have, I went, oh, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. Like, I want to go there to share what I believe, and they cut it out. So I'm not going to go there. Like what that doesn't jive, But speaking of not jiving, is that specifically, the assassination of this person has shown me that how do I want to say this? I don't think the whole picture is that it's a bunch of evil, asshole, racist, irredeemable people. What I saw, because I slowed down and took a beat and processed my own rage, where I was like, what are we talking about? This guy wanted all of us dead. What are we talking about? And then to see specifically a baseball player who I knew was like a MAGA dude. But I'm like, okay, I have pushed things away as a solution, and I don't know that that's working anymore. And so I wasn't paying full attention, but I'm on a text thread with my fantasy baseball league, and they're texting about all this stuff. And then somebody told me some inside information, which is that this guy asked for bereavement. And everybody's, oh, come on, blah, 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 knee jerk. And so did I. And then I took a second. I was like, he hasn't been playing well. He hasn't been shaving his face. Like, this man is actually going through grief. And I went, hang on a second. It got in me in a different way. And I went, what's going on here? And then I saw these other posts, like, slowly about actual human beings talking to their actual human being relatives who were completely distraught over this person. And the things they were saying is like, he was a good man and he had a family and he spoke like these positive, because they were seeing a completely different stream of content than we were. And that was on purpose. So there is something a little bit bigger going on here that's really insidious and evil and deeply unsettling. That's bigger than that guy. And he was obviously, I'm like, this was his job. His job was to create 2, maybe 3, maybe infinite streams of ideology. Like, I don't think these people were seeing the ideology that we were seeing. And it was on purpose. It was on purpose because
Well,
then when we get really upset, they go, these people are psychopaths. And then when they get really upset, we go, these people are psychopaths. Sorry, Mike, what were you gonna say?
well, no, and please, I don't even mean to interrupt, but
No, please.
I'm so curious. So you having that sort of realization about these people's real grief and their grief being connected to an ideology that is like actively against, you know, people like you existing, like
Yep.
actively opposes you as a person, like
hmm
has it given you a different perspective on how pervasive the ideology is and in how
Mhm.
like how has that felt to process that if that's the case?
Yeah, you mean like, so how my knowing that like most of these people, because I don't know that it's all of them, but most of these people think
Yeah,
that
right.
being trans is like a profound sin, right?
Exactly.
More
Yeah,
than a
yeah.
sin. I will actually say I don't think that they just think it's a sin.
What is
They
it?
think it shouldn't exist.
Like an abomination.
Like it
Yeah,
is
right,
like an
right, right.
impossibility.
That I
right? Like,
myself in this, it's not real. That I'm a woman and I'm saying,
Yes.
all that stuff.
Yes.
Of course. Yeah. Well, I mean, I become less enraged by somebody feeling that way about me because it isn't true.
Mhm.
It's just not true. And I know they think it is, but that's their path. And also, like, if they think I'm a woman, go for it. I'm like, whatever. And I don't, I know it seems I was on this podcast and they were trying to iron out the bright policy for trans people, of like, well, how do we, and it's like, you don't, you can't, there's no law that's going to make people think this is fine. There just isn't.
Right.
There just is not, because the civil rights movement, profound change. Did it make everybody stop being like that? No, it's not. And I'm not saying we don't do things, but what I'm saying is we stop thinking that the law is going to do it. You know what I mean? The law or one statement. I mean, I've chased stand up for all this time trying to find the one thing I can say that's going to unlock everything. And the thing that unlocks everything is being honest and just being me. And I could die for it. I don't know. But like a lot of people have. And so I
Wow,
hope
yeah.
I leave an imprint on people that they go, oh shit, he died doing what he loved, being alive. And like,
oh shit. That's hard. That's hard.
you know what I'm saying, Mike? It's like, yeah, man, I
Yeah.
gotta stop thinking, bro. I gotta stop thinking so goddamn much. Cause like, here's the other crazy thing. I read the Bible, so I know it's not true. And I know,
Yeah.
Right.
I know how much pain it's causing them. I know that because I've been in it too. And I'm not going to change them, but I'm not going to change me for them.
This is now a political economy and philosophy
Mhm.
podcast, which actually we can always fold this back into our discussion of creative economy, honestly, because all of this is stuff that has an impact on who we are and the art we do and the
Mhm.
kinds of things we're willing to do, right?
Mhm.
But I wanted to say this, and this actually might be the statement that gets back to that, which is, I think laws are pretty important, and policy, trying to create the best policy possible, is pretty important because
Mhm.
it's one of the things you talked about. What are you powerless over? What do you have some, power to do? And laws are one way, right? They're not going to change anybody's mind. But I don't care actually about, in a global sense, about changing people's minds when it comes to, racism, transphobia,
Mhm.
homophobia. Like, I do care that there are laws that can be used to pursue justice, right? And I just think that's a separate project. That's where I kind of come down, is these are two separate projects to
Separate from
inculcate
what?
feelings. Just they're separate. There's the project of changing minds,
Uh-huh.
right? And then there's the project of policy. And those two things are not the same.
I would
Bring
argue.
the
I would
joy.
argue.
But again,
this.
I think I think those are two separate projects. I have
totally
control
There's
over.
no such thing as two separate things.
Okay. Well, not okay. Well,
and I'm not
well,
saying
let me
you're
say that
wrong.
but they're projects. They are projects that can be. Of course, they have connections, right? Like you're not going to get the
Mhm,
policies without changing some minds,
mhm,
right? And laws can also help change minds, but I don't think it's useful to formulate it as we must change minds in order to change policy.
mhm,
Like, I think that you can get a lot done with the people who already believe what you believe and to bring them even further on board. But one of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast actually is because I wanted to do something more than know that it was the system and not just me
mhm.
that has made my life precarious. I wanted to share that and to try and create community around it.
I totally agree with you. I think you're right. The only policy that I'm interested in is one of material safety. That's it. Because the two things you just described, I'm not interested in that path anymore. And that's why I am not a Democrat. Because to me, Democrats and Republicans are not opposites. They are not. So to me, with the wealth that we have in this country compared to smaller countries who take care of the people whose feet are on the land, we have so much like BS luxury, and art has become a luxury. It's become commodified. Other countries, it's deeply valued as having profound worth in the lives of its people. And like it's interesting to me that like in this country we use creative as a noun now because I'm just like everyone's creative. Everyone. Some people aren't like called to simply make art, but there are people who are. And everyone has value in that because the people who aren't called to, maybe they're the people who get to enjoy it the most. I don't know. But like because this country has taken and taken and taken since white people put their feet on this land and colonized it, all that has been done is take, and give a little bit. But over time, it's there. You can't, it's so hard to be an artist. And you say that, and everybody goes, it's always hard to be an artist. It's like, that's wrong. That's actually a wrong path. Like, it's actually wrong. And so, like, to me, because I think you're totally right. There's policy and there's changing minds. So, uh, how can there's always a secret third thing because there's no such thing as a binary. There's always a secret third thing. And that secret third thing is providing material support so that community grows out of that. And then minds are changed. And by then, I'm not even trying to change anybody's mind. Because the guy E who lives out in front of my apartment, guess what? Now he's got a place to stay. And now he's got like basic needs met. And he's got a gratitude list that goes, wow, my basic needs are met. And then over there, and then over there. And then I stop comparing the outsides because it's not a race anymore on a basic level. And the only spaces I can go to fill my cup are not places I have to pay or be of some class to be in.
As this current political environment and all of the rhetoric and real danger unfolds, it's
Mhm.
as your material safety becomes more and more precarious. How does this affect your creativity? How does this affect your approach to joke writing? Like you're a very observational comic and
Yeah.
usually you're getting so much out of so little, but now there's so much happening. Like how is this changing your approach to writing?
Great question, Mike. Thank you. It's so profoundly changed my approach because like I said, I was like always trying to find the right thing. It's like if I could just I have a Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade tattoo on my leg that says Indiana Let It Go, and it has the Holy Grail on it. And he says, before his dad says that to him, he goes, if I could just reach it, Dad, it's that feeling. I can almost reach it. And he's like, Indiana, let it go. And it's like a really trans moment in that movie too, because he refuses to call him Indiana the whole movie until that precise moment. He calls him by his chosen name. So what it has allowed, I've stopped thinking so much. I've also, just want to say, found the right course of like medication for me, and it's profoundly changed me, which is also why I'm like, you guys are like, oh, that's what's going on. But my mind is still mine, but my ability to expand around the thoughts that I'm having and to look at a much bigger picture, like the fact that I'm looking at and accepting that this guy is grieving instead of just like being like, this guy sucks. That is what's changing my approach to writing. And it's in the very like nascent stages. And I'm just like, oh, I think that's what this is. That new ways of thinking and being are coming in. And I'm many things have taken place in my life that are like big change for most people. And my life has gotten a lot simpler because of it. And I'm very grateful for that, because I'm just like, oh, this doesn't have to be complicated, actually. I'm sure, like, is music like that? Like, I'm just like getting back into playing music, and so I've had a new experience of that. So what's that like for you, Mike?
So what I can say is, in my cis privilege, right? Like, I'm not having to think about things as existentially as you are. So I feel largely permitted to just do, whatever whimsical bullshit I want to do.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Most of the time, which is a radical act on its own.
Mm-hmm.
But there have been different times when things have felt a little more existential for me, racially. And it does make me like, then my perspective, my point of view becomes a lot more societal, like those. And I can always find that reflected like in my projects, but it's also different that I can sort of formulate a conversation project by project. And it's different than, you're constantly writing jokes and constantly going up, and there's a conversation, a discourse that you're in is constantly evolving. So it just feels different, I guess.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me.
Are you looking to reclaim your health? Tune into the Real Foodology podcast, hosted by me, Courtney Swan, integrative nutritionist and real food activist. I am on a mission to transform our food system by challenging the corrupt practices that undermine our health and replace them with choices that genuinely support our well-being. Listen to Real Foodology podcast on your favorite podcast app. New episodes every Tuesday.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ Bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
If you're enjoying this conversation, we got more for you on our Patreon.
This week's bonus segment goes deep on something every creative person will recognize: the pressure to always be producing. Whether it's a new stand-up special or a weekly newsletter, the hustle never lets up.
Get it now at patreon.com/padsdue, plus early access, ad-free episodes, and more.
Now, back to the show. Do you feel like there's specific things that you don't want to do anymore because of the ways that you've evolved in your thinking? Are there specific kinds of jokes or specific like modes. Because like one thing I thought of as we were talking about complaining or not complaining, I can't remember if that was on mic or not, but is a lot of stand-up is complaining. A lot of stand-up is like, airline food, right?
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. So, I mean, what's interesting is like that's an appropriate place for complaining. You know what I mean? I'm up here sharing some of my complaints, my comments, concerns, and complaints with you guys. And whoa, you have them too. Okay. All right. Now we're cooking with gas. And my approach is more like we're sharing this moment together as opposed to like, I have this thing, I'm going to bring it to you. You guys are going to listen. I'm going to take off. It's like, oh, you exist. I exist. We are here together. But what's a different approach that I'm like not doing anymore, and I could not have done this without like all the things that I've done, including medication, is like be open to a new way of writing, because I've just done it the same way for so long, and it was very much like winging it. And it worked for a long time because I speak extemporaneously pretty well. So it got me pretty far. It's not fun anymore. It's like not fun. It's actually more fun for me to go, oh, at 10:55 on a Tuesday morning, oh, that's interesting. And not dismiss it because I'm not going to be able to go up tonight and try it out. It's just like there's just an openness that's going on. And maybe I don't have to figure any of this stuff out. Maybe I've got a good heart and a good mind for stuff. And I'm going to talk my way through it with some people who want to listen and don't want to listen. That I'm not here to win. I'm not trying to win.
Well, we could talk forever, and it's been so incredible to hear.
I think you said something about being good at it, and I agree. This has been fascinating. Thank you. We're usually like a low-key divorce podcast.
I was going to bring that up too, but that would have been a whole nother tangent.
I know. Well, we need a whole other part 2 and 3 for that.
Now that's just a political philosophy podcast. I don't think we've ever kind of gone into like the praxis mode,
Well, it deeply affects my ability to be creative and everyone's, because as we all are like choosing to do what you love for a living, and what I'm saying from before of the policy of like material support for the people who find themselves within the boundaries of this country, then actually getting to choose what they do for a living, which can allow for the love of that. Because not everybody's supposed to be a sculptor, but we are all artists in our own lives. And what takes that artistry away and that belief in your own, I believe, God-given creativity that each of us has, a spark inside to, I don't know, make a nice grilled cheese for somebody, or plant a garden, or smile, or whatever it is. Capitalism removes that ability for most, so that a few people can have every single thing they ever think about. And so like it's not about people choosing right. It's about giving people what they need so that they can make their own choices. That they can find their own purpose here without the constraints of consistent, persistent, unending poverty. Because if you're not in poverty, it is right behind you. It is right behind you. And that's what the goal has been.
And making choices based on fear of financial insecurity, right? Like, what liberation means is not having to make choices based on fear, I think. Yeah. And it was a gentleman named, his name rhymes with Schmarl Smarksh, who posited that the reason why you want to have an end to, the extraction of people's labor is not so that they stop working, but that they can pursue what they love to do, actually. Like, that's the point of communism. It's not leisure, right? It's not laziness. It's support for further creativity and pursuit. Or if you love, like my dad, who among us is going to be like, math, man, that's what I really feel called to do. But my dad, like, You give my dad like $1 million, and what is he going to do? He's going to do math. Anyway, speaking of what we love to do, River, very important part of the show. You said you have a club date coming up, but I know you have more that you probably want to promote. So this is our plug segment. Tell us all about it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be in St. Paul, Minneapolis at Laugh Camp, October 10th and October 11th. There's 2 shows each night. I hope everybody comes out. And that's my dates. I am going to be back at the but I don't think I can. I might not be able to say that necessarily. Actually, now that I realize, I guess like the only thing I would promote is that I do use Instagram at Riv Butcher. I started a Substack because I've tried to transition some of my extemporaneous speaking into extemporaneous writing, and that's been pretty fun. But it's hard for me to be consistent because it just is. And I'm toying around with the idea of streaming and talking to people, either on Twitch or through Substack or whatever. So look at that, look out for that, because I really do like my medication journey has like greatly reduced the dread around those kinds of things. Cause like, I don't want to make content. And it got me into like, oh, I do want to talk to people. So like, how can I do that if I'm not going to be on the road? And I'll tell you, I had fear of not being on the road while at the same time being like, I don't want to be a road dog. And then it's happened. And I'm like, well, I guess that's just not where I'm supposed to be right now. It doesn't actually mean I'm not a stand-up comedian, which is to bring it back to the sort of like existential trans dread is like, just because so-and-so says I'm a woman does not mean that I am. So, okay. It's very freeing, when you're just like, oh, it's actually up to me, Well,
that's awesome. I can't tell you how much we appreciate hearing from you, especially with things as they are now. And we hope that everyone does go and follow you on everything and look up for all your upcoming moves.
Thanks, man. It's
Yeah,
good to see you both.
I'm supposed to be in the Twin Cities at some point in the next few weeks. Like maybe I'll schedule it around your show.
Yeah, look at that.
I'd love to be there. It's a good town too.
Yeah, it's a great town. I love Minneapolis, St. Paul.
I actually am a little bit biased because St. Paul is like where I moved first in the Twin Cities. So I'm kind of like more I think St. Paul is lucky better, honestly.
I think I love an underdog. I love a little brother. Yeah. I love.
I like in Dallas Fort Worth. I like Fort Worth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
In all those dyad cities, I'm gonna take the underdog.
We appreciate you, River.
Appreciate you.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, what's up, Anna?
I understand that you had an errand to run this morning that has to do with the thing that you should be plugging.
Oh, you know what? You're so right. And I wouldn't even have thought about it, even though I just physically came from doing it. And what we're talking about is shipping out records. My new album, Neighborhood Gods Unlimited, is out now. And if you order one of the standard edition, you're getting that shipped directly from me. It might be a little loose hair follicle of mine in it. You never know. It is available. There's only about 100 of those left. So if you want to get one of those, you want to grab it now, just go on Bandcamp and search Open Mike Eagle. And that is how you find it. I've also have a couple of tour dates in October that I wanted to plug. I'll be in Miami, Atlanta, Orlando, Phoenix, and Yucca Valley, California, all next month. And you can see all those dates at mikeeagle.net. So what you got going on, Anna?
I'll wait till Molly finishes scratching.
Sounds like she's typing. Is she writing her newsletter? Is that what's happening?
Molly has a newsletter. I'm not allowed to read it. So
it's about you.
I don't know what. I'm not a it's subscriber only, and
paywall.
Yeah, I don't know what she's planning. Anyway, it's called Molly Murder Kitten. It is on Substack, of course.
Of course.
Because she hates me. I have a newsletter, actually myself, not on Substack. You can get it at newsletter.annamariecox.com. It is called AMC All the Time, just in case you need more of me. Although I haven't done an issue in a couple weeks, but I will be back at that. And then on a more regular basis,
I have another podcast called Space the Nation. It's about politics and science fiction. We've been covering the Alien franchise lately, although we're also going to do a special episode about sneakers to honor the late, great Robert Redford. And then I'm also a contributing editor at The New Republic.
And you should check out my writing there. And of course, there's all the socials. I'm Anna Marie Cox on all the socials. And we're always here. And Mike, there's probably one last thing we should plug.
I think you're right. I think there is one last thing we should plug. I think we should plug our Patreon.
Yes, our Patreon, where you can get bonus material and get early episodes and get that warm glow of knowing you're supporting a fellow creative persons.
People, even.
People. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm the writer. Anyway, this has been great. Please tune in next week.
And that's patreon.com/pastdue, just in case you were curious.
Past Due is hosted by Anna Marie Cox and Open Mike Eagle. It's produced by Andrew Steven. You can find more at pastduepodcast.com. Help support the show by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/pastdue. You'll get bonus content, extended interviews, and more. As always, if you like what we're doing, another way to help is by subscribing, sharing the show, and leaving us a review. Thanks for listening.
Stop doom scrolling. Start decoding the tech, rewiring your week and your world. The Interface is the BBC's fiercely informed, fast, and funny take on how technology is changing everything.
Hosted by journalists Tom Germain, Karen Howe, and Nikki Wolf, each episode unpacks week by week the unfolding story of how technology is shaping all our futures. No guests, no jargon, just three sharp voices debating the tech news stories that matter, whether they shook a government, broke the internet, or quietly tipped the balance of power.
As TikTok shifts geopolitics, Trump drives digital shockwaves, Elon Musk expands his space internet empire, and AI reroutes the routines of everyday life. The trio asks, what world are the tech titans building for us? And do we want to live in it?
Find The Interface from the BBC wherever you get your podcasts.
Sometimes it feels like red and blue states are just as divergent as post-World War II East and West Germany. So what can the US learn from German political history in order to create a more perfect union? Find out on the new season of The Future of Our Former Democracy, the Signal Award-winning podcast from More Equitable Democracy and Large Media, hosted by me, Colin Cole, and Heather Villanueva. It's time to rethink democracy. So follow The Future of Our Former Democracy wherever you get your podcasts.